Welcome to an episode of Sincerely-Unmatched, bro. And well, yeah, this is Michael. Michael's actually one of Pedro's supervisors, so we're just kind of gonna chop it up with him, and he's gonna explain to you guys a little bit of his backstory, and then we'll get into the juicy details of leadership and all that good stuff. You want to introduce yourself,
For
Michael?
sure, for sure. Yeah, what's up, guys? My name is Mike. I've been in leadership for probably about 22 years. Did start off at the Walmart distribution center in New Braunfels, where I did start off as an hourly, order selector. Worked my way up through the ranks over there. 5 years when I was there, I kind of decided like maybe I should make this a career, right? Didn't think I was going to be there 5 years. Got 5 years. Worked my way up the ladder and everything, and took my shot at management. Over there at the Walmart DC, it wasn't supervisors, managers, ops managers, and stuff like that. It was strictly just straight management. You were going to go straight in there. So interview process and all that stuff. So, and I'm the type that I let my job do the talking. Do it 100%. PLAP knows, how I am. Being his boss for many years already, he knows how I am with everybody. I try to treat everybody the same way. So I'll get more into that a little bit later. But yeah, so 5 years in at Walmart DC, took the chance to go into management. Was there for 19 years until I went to Dollar General.
Yeah.
All right, so I was a manager for 14 and a half years at Walmart. Had the struggles, starting off in leadership and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't go in thinking, okay, I got the title, so, whatever I say goes, right? PLAP, again, knows how I am as a leader. I don't go and tell people like I'm the boss, right? They know you're the boss. There's no need to tell anybody you're the boss, right? So, once I left Walmart, company did really, really well for me. It was just the upper management that I didn't really, care too much for. Didn't feel like I had the backing with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't feel like I could go any further than what I wanted to. And I wanted to stay there. I wanted to go further, but got opportunity at Dollar General. So not many people know this, and I don't know if Pat really remembers, but when I started at Dollar General, I've been there almost 4.5 years, 5 years now. I started off hourly, right? So I think this tells a lot about myself, which a title doesn't mean nothing, nor money means anything to me, right?
Yeah.
Money is great. Don't get me wrong, money is great. When I got interviewed at Dollar General, I wasn't going to get hired. One reason, I was too overqualified for the job and not being order selector. But yeah, so I went through all the interview process, and their whole thing is like, well, why do you want to take the spot? And I'm like, well, why not? It's a job, right? I wanted a little break from leadership. Leadership is wild. It can get stressful. It can get frustrating.
Yeah.
And PLAP knows that, right? So they said I was too overqualified, and how is my mind gonna switch from being an exempt, which is a salaried employee, right, to an hourly employee? And what I told them right off the bat was, hire me and I'll show you, right? Because a lot of people, when they're taking that step down, right away they're thinking they're too good for that spot. Went in there, didn't think I was better than anybody because I was a manager for 14 years at Walmart, right? I basically, my slate was clean, right? I started off like a newbie, over there at Dollar General. 6 months in, they asked me to run the short desk PLAP, and I was like, I'll do it if nobody else wants to do it because I'm fairly new. I don't want to step on anybody's toes that were probably in the line to do it. So, nobody wanted to take it. So I stepped in and did it. And that's when I first met the AD Greg. And he had asked me, do I like order selecting or do I like running the short desk? He's better. And I said, I like to order select because I like to stay busy. I want to be, I like to do the manual work. Long story short, then got to the LDP program, and it's usually a 6-month program, but they kind of dumbed mine down into like a month, just because of my experience, right? So they promoted me to supervisor, and I want to say within 4 or 5 months, PLAP, I was a Soup 2. So, and over there it goes from Soup 1, which is like an entry-level Soup, to like your Soup 2, which is like a step level, below a manager. And I feel like with me going in there and doing hourly and then working my way up and always being true to like what I say. Like, it's not about the title and it's not about the money. Not for me, right? To me, it's about engaging, and growing, and then in the leadership spot where I'm in now, growing other people, right? That's where I feel like you're never gonna see me walk up to somebody and be like, "I'm the boss. This is what happens, right? This is how it's gonna go." I'm the type that I like to lean on the employees, because my thing is, no leader is anything without their employees. None at all. I'm only as successful as what my employees are, right? Well, and that's the way I go day to day. Day to day. So like I said, I've been in leadership, in warehousing, in logistics for 23, 24 years, and I could tell anybody, if you're willing, if you're in logistics at all, and you want to make that next step, man, it's hard. It's tough. It's a grind. It really is. I mean, and you got to have the support from your family too. Of course. My wife's put up with so much, man, so much, from my whole time over there at the Walmart DC to now the hours that we put in at Dollar General, right? And then working overnights. So you have to sacrifice, and you have to have that backing from your family too, to know that, you're what you're doing is for them, right? To make your life better, and she knows that my drive is to make other people better too.
Hi, man. Go for it.
I wanted to say, I back everything that you said, and like, you never came up to me and said, "On the ball, this is what goes."
Mm-hmm.
You always tell me, "Hey, can you do this?" And I'll do it, and you don't rush me. You don't tell me hurry up, because I'm gonna get it done regardless.
Right.
And I know you're the one that actually told me about the book, the book that I just
21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
And I was telling my cousin that you told me about the book, and we actually talked, and me and Alex talked, and he's supposed to order his book so we can keep each other accountable.
Yeah.
But you're the one as well, Mike, that you tell me a lot of things. You send me a lot of motivational things. But you not just show me, you actually put in the work yourself. There's times I even seen you order select.
And PLAP, when I do things like that, like, I think that kind of what sets me apart from other people too, other leaders, right? You want to, you all here lead by example, right? Of course. To me, going out, PLAP, how I dress at work, right?
Yeah.
I'm wearing the $160 Nikes, and wearing the polo shirts and wearing the jeans, and it does not bother me to go in there and sweat a little bit, right? To get in there and order select with them, because what does that do for the employees? It boosts their morale, right?
Yeah.
And then their thought process is, what are you doing? You're a boss. You don't need to do that. You're right. I don't need to do it, but I want to do it because I want to show y'all, like, this is a good job for you guys to have. And yes, it's hard work, but I'm going to do it still.
But I'm going to do it with you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I can sit at a desk all day long. Yeah. All day long, and PLAP, your cousin don't know, but you can attest to it that I go from one side of the building to the next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Checking up on everybody, not walking around thinking that I'm better than anybody, right?
Yeah.
And what makes me feel good, and I think is what anybody that is in leadership makes them feel good, is when you're not at work and you come in the next day, and then they say, "Man, it's just so much better when you're here."
Yeah.
Right? And it's not the harping over anybody, because I'm the type of boss, Alex, that I don't harp over anybody, right? You're an adult. You're in this environment. I shouldn't have to tell you how to do your job or what to do about your job, right? I'm not a micromanager. If you want me to be over your shoulder, I will, but that's not my style. And PLAP knows I'll get onto you if you're not doing something right. Of course. I'll get onto you, but kind of like how we're talking right now, like, I won't raise my voice. I won't cuss at you. It's all the respect. It's the respect that you have to have for your employees, because they'll bend over backwards for you if you treat them with respect and they see you treating others with respect, right? No favoritisms or anything like that. Now, you're always going to have those that feel that you're treating somebody better than them, but you're really not. And I want to be held accountable. PLAP, you brought it up. I want to be held accountable if somebody sees me treating somebody a certain way and not treating them the certain way, right? And then I feel as a leader that you have to have that, kind of feedback from other people and take it with a grain of salt. Not like, well, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? Like, you're an hourly, like, I'm the boss, going back to I'm the boss type thing. But I lean on the hourlies a lot, because they're out there physically doing the job. I'm just there making sure that the operations and the the procedures are followed, right? And we have to, as leadership, anybody in leadership, man, has to have an open mind to when anybody hourly goes up to them and says, hey, I think we should do this, or hey, what do you think about doing this? If you just take that little bit from them, I can tell you right now that they'll do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tend to walk around with a little notepad. PLAP, you might see me every now and then. If somebody comes up to you and asks you a simple question and you just simply take out a little notepad and you write it down, that again goes a long way to them. Because why? Because you're listening to them.
Yeah.
You care about them. And then you want to tell them, like, I will get back to you. And then you want to make sure that you do get back to them and you're not just saying it, right? That's what a lot of leaderships now, PLAP at DG is, I think they're lacking.
Yeah.
Right? And you know me, man, I'm like, I put myself up here and I tell you, like, I'm up here, like, with you, with anybody else that I see can do something good, right? When you make the mistakes, how are you going to take the criticism, right? Are you going to go in a corner? Or are you going to cry? And you've heard me tell you this all the time.
Yeah.
Or are you going to do something about it? If you don't get into a certain program, if you don't get to transfer to a different area, if you don't get to cross train into something, how is your mindset going to be then?
Yeah, like I even there was a time when I had told you the way that I felt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you gave me a lot of outlets that I could use, right?
Mm-hmm.
How to become better, not to get better, but become better.
Yeah.
And to don't, because you know me, man. Like, I'm a hard worker. I love to work. I love to put in the work.
Sometimes.
but man, like, for me, it's like I give you a lot of respect, and I believe I told my cousin that I respect you, because even when I'm running the desk, and you'll be like, hey, like you can do it, like, just do it, and
yeah.
And I feel like I got him better and better and better. Like, there's times when you were there to watch what I was doing, and then
Mm-hmm.
you'll let me be, you let me be, and for me, I take that as like, okay, he not just, he has my back, but he knows that if he leaves, that it will get done,
Yeah.
But obviously, like, we all have a job to do, but I've always respected that of you, that you push us, but you push us to become great. You really are the definition of someone that empowers other leaders. So
I appreciate that, PLAP. And it's that running that desk part. I'm not sure how much Alex knows about it, but it can get stressful, right?
Yeah.
It is in a way a supervisor part, like a leadership position, because as a leader, every single day you're faced with different obstacles, right? Every single day, like I could talk to PLAP a certain way, right? But the way I talk to you, I can't talk to the person the same way, because they might not take it the way you take it, right? So, and I think that's as part of being a leader too, is you have to, kind of gauge your audience, right, and look at their body language and stuff, because body language tells everything.
Yeah,
big thing.
If you're gonna go up to somebody and their head's hanging down, or they just got that look on their face, like, all right, tell me something, and I'm about to tell you something back, right? And there's times when, hey, some people just need to just let off some steam, and you as a leader got to let them do it, right? You can't bark back at them. One thing that we learned, and as many years as I've had in leadership, and I tell PLAP all the time, like, I'm always learning. Like, there's never an ending spot to learn anything. I think every morning when I wake up, I'm sending PLAP like a YouTube video of a motivation, or like a motivational quote, or something like that. And I think PLAP knows when I'm upset with them, because I won't say nothing.
yeah,
Right? Like, make them think. Make them think about. And you're not the only one I do it to, PLAP. Like, everybody at that desk, like, I could just go and look at it and walk away.
Yeah.
And most of the time I'm just like, okay, they're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, and that's what I take from it. Like, I do when you do that, I do think, but I'm just like, I know, like, it's just like he's doing it, but I know that's just like I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it to spark you up so you can do something about
right.
it.
Right, because I could easily go in there, PLAP, and tell you, like, move this, do that. What are you gonna learn from it?
Yeah, if you don't let me figure it out.
Exactly. you have to find a way to get out of that predicament, because I could fix it and fix it quick.
Of course.
But you're in that spot for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I do the things I do. And, you know, when I leave you and I go to my desk and I look at the stuff and I see you, you know, doing the adjustments and things like that, right? I'm like, okay, he gets it. Yeah. Now, are you just going to get it, or are you going to stay on top of it? That's different, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And like for me, it's like there's times when you know, I used to go really early, and then my brother would be like, "Bro, you're crazy." Like at 3:30, or
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
But I wanted to see a lot of different things from the desk. I like to see how things are run, you know.
Right.
And I know that first shift runs the desk a little different. Third shift runs it different, and so you know, so I just try to learn a little bit from everybody, you know, from the people that we got, from the people that they got, and how they run it. And I feel like, for me, I wanna become a leader that obviously stay a student, you know, stay a student, but also because I don't want to know everything. If I feel like I know everything, then I'm ignorant. I don't, because that means that I don't want to learn and I don't want to grow.
Right.
You know? And just learning from a lot of people and learning from their skills, it makes me not just makes me a better leader, but like you gotta take the good from there's good and bad leaders, and some bad leaders have good qualities that you can take.
Yeah.
So I try to take that from everybody.
For sure.
But and that's
I mean, you always have to study. You always have to study, bro. You can never stop studying anybody. Like, you know, my next step obviously is, you know, manager, right? Yeah. And I hear that from everybody. Like, you just, you know, you could tell the difference between like different level people, right? Just by how they handle themselves when they're out on the floor. Saying hello to everybody goes a long way. You know, not just the people that are directly to you, right? And then are you ready, you know, for them to come to you at all times, right, PLAP? Because we have 3 supervisors in full case, and I think every single one, you know, comes to me, right? Yeah. Makes me feel good, yes, but then in a way I'm like, you need to go talk to your own suit, right? You know, like, I already got too much on my plate as it is, so go. But then again, you want to be there for them too, right? Like, of course, don't ever feel, you know, if and when you become a leader, don't ever feel that you're above anybody else. You know what I mean? Even though my level as a Soup 2 is higher than any other people over there, I never thought of myself as being better than them. You know what I mean? I'll let people judge, you know, be the deciding factor in that. Like me, no, because I've seen throughout my whole tenure, you know, my career in logistics and from hourly to leadership, man, I've seen the likes of people just kissing their way up to the top, you know, going to corporate, you know, jobs, you know, to, I got a title now, so now I'm big and bad. You know what I mean? That's the type of leader that I told myself I would never want to be. And I would want somebody to tell me, like, if I'm changing, to tell me. Wow. You know, because, PLAP, you can talk to Brandon Flores, who, you know, not many people know I was his direct manager at Walmart when he worked for me, right? So when I came to Dollar General, he was going through the LDP course, right? So he was becoming a supervisor, and I knew right then and there he was kind of intimidated, right? Because his old boss is back, right? And, and you know, so my thing to him, and I think what made him kind of settle down too. And I was like, look, dude, whatever was in Walmart, whatever I did at Walmart with you and stuff like that's in the past. Like, this is your place. You know, you're doing good things right now. So now I'm learning from you, right? To me, I think it takes a lot for somebody to do that, because a lot of people now got a title and they're just like, no, I'm better than you regardless. Yeah. Right? From that day, man, I think Brandon was more like, man, when you told me, you know, that, hey, now I'm here to learn from you, he kind of, you know, felt a little bit better about himself. And Brandon's come a long way, man, from being when you first started to now, right? And being that guy to lean on. And PLAP, you know me, man, they got, you know, Greg's got me training every single new supervisor that comes through the building, right? You know, guys from, you know, up DC's coming in, and he wants me to train them and things like that. So it's man, it's a lot. It's a lot, but you know, you got to, you know, have your time management, You know, it has to be on par. You can't get stressful, man, or frustrated, because if you wear it on your face, what's the employee's going to do when they see you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to sit there and just cry your eyes out and everything, and then, you know, your employee can be like, man, and that's my boss.
Yeah.
You know, how is he me through? How's he supposed to lead me through war when he's over here crying in the corner?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's things like that, man. When you feel like you're gonna break down or whatever, you just gotta walk away. I mean, you just gotta walk away, and there's plenty of us that do it. I mean, shoot, there's times when I'm like, feel like I'm getting bombarded with stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, just taking a step back and breathing and stuff, and thinking about things that make you happy. You know, for instance, my wife and kids. You know what I'm saying? You know, things like that. It's challenging, man. Leadership is not easy. You know, it's not easy, and PLAP, you can see it. You can see it in some of the new supervisors there, man. They wear it on their face. You know, they drag around their feet's dragging.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, come on, bro. Like, be professional.
Like,
you know, yeah, you may have a lot of stuff going on inside of you, but bro, at least make yourself presentable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
What's up, PLAP? What you have to say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say like, and it's true, man. Like, there's this quote that I mentioned it even a few episodes back. Like, if you can't handle stress, you cannot handle success. And for me, I learned that success. Like, I obviously as an order selector, you don't really like think too much of like, you know, different things, but like being at like it just like my brain just literally expanded. Like, I'm just like, wow. And I remember one time Greg and Manning, we were on break and they were like, "Hey, PLAP, you're gonna dream about the desk for a week." And
oh yeah.
And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I'll be sleeping. I wake up. I'm like, "Oh, what the heck am I doing?"
Yeah.
But it's good because it makes you think. And honestly, like that's one of the things that made me wanna like do a lot more research on leadership and every aspect of leadership. You know. And
I mean, even if I'm sorry to cut you off, PLAP, but even if you're not wanting to take that next step into leadership and to get that title, right? I feel that it's always good to learn about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, PLAP, you what you guys go through on the desk, you know, when we come in and first shift doesn't leave us in the greatest shape, right? So what is our first instinct? Man, they left us this, and we're gonna get behind, and you know, second shift, man, we don't need to have that mindset, right?
Of course.
You know, because we always find a way to get through, right? And those are the kind of obstacles that you face as a leader too. You know, you're not. And I tell a lot of the new supervisors now, like, you know, any leader anyways, is you always want to have that thought, that plan ahead on anything that happens before it actually happens, right? You know, be, proactive, you know, instead of when it happens, then you're like screwed because you're like, damn, what do I do now?
Yeah. Because now you're...
PLAP, right. Because PLAP, I've told you before, man, like, I could be walking, but I got a million things going on in my head. What if that breaks down, you know? What if this guy's RT or, you know, RT breaks down, and what if somebody tosses a book, or what if somebody does this? And, you know, that's why I tell y'all, like, make sure you're looking, you know, through the work assignments so that we can get ahead of it, you know, and not wait till the last minute, right? Of course. Because you don't want to wait till the last minute, because then you're kind of, you know, out of it, right? Even though we've been coming in and we're already behind the eight ball, right? Because of the fact that how we're left. Yeah. You know, but we can't think like, well, we're behind because of this. And you know, if it's 6-7 hours into the shift, we can't blame it on first shift. Yeah. What did we, you know what I mean? Like, or any shift, like, what did we do? You know, that's what a lot of leaders wait for something to happen besides thinking about what could happen. Yeah. And that's how there's times, you know, there's times when I'll go in and we have like 400 shorts, 500 shorts. And my man at the beginning, I'm like, man, like, this sucks. Yep. But then another part of me where I'm like, nah, like, this is good to me, because not good in a sense like, oh, this is great, but more like, we're gonna. It's a challenge, bro. It's a challenge. We're gonna get through it. Yeah. We have a great team, and we're gonna get through it regardless, right? And it pushes you to accelerate and propel you to the next level. Because next time it does happen, you already know, okay, I'm gonna make moves. I'm gonna send people here and manage people, like, to make the job to get the job done. You know. See, you talk about going in early, right? So I'm not supposed to be there until like an hour before employees, right? And PLAP, you know, I get there between 4 and 4:15 every single day, right? And I'm like the last one to leave. And that's nothing that, like Greg or anybody has told me, like, Mike, you need to get there early, right? Because you know me, I like to get there, one, to set up for our day, right?
Yeah.
Talk to the other leaders, because communication, man, and leadership is key. Like, it really is key, right? Because, Pat, when you guys come in and you see that many, 400, 500 shorts or whatever, like, I'm already, like, knowing what I want to do. I don't tell you guys on the desk because I want y'all to figure out what you're going to do. You know what I mean?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. And that's me being like, your time management stuff and not feeling like I'm rushed, right? Even though an hour before is enough time, right? But to me, an hour and 45 minutes is more than enough time to, like, be able to talk to, like, your first shift counterparts and to see what kind of struggles they had throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I could pass it along in our meetings, in our zone meetings, like, okay, this is what happened throughout today, so we need to keep our eye on this, which I don't think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And I think that's unfair to employees because communication is key. Like, I feel that, like, the people in my zone, PLAP, get a lot of communication that other zones don't get. And they can. But it's up to that leader to be able to give it to them, right?
Of course.
Don't hold back information that you can give. Don't. As a leader, and when I was hourly, I love to hear how we were doing as a company. I love to know where we ranked amongst all shifts, right?
Mm-hmm.
How the DC ranked with the network, who the top selectors were, who the top replay drivers were, things like that, right? Because you want to start the day off in a positive manner, right? You don't want them to come and be like, God damn it, we sucked yesterday. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
Because right then and there, they ain't going to go out there and do nothing for you, right? They're not going to pull percent. They're just going to go all day and just be there just for the money, right?
Yeah.
Like, you need the employees to understand, like, what they do for the company is not just pushing cases out.
Yeah.
They're making us get to that top tier, right? They're making us get to number one. They're making us get to number two. It's nothing that I'm doing, right? It's everything that y'all are doing, and I'm making sure that you guys are doing what you need to do to get the job done. What you guys need from me to get it done.
And talking about zone meetings and everything, I remember, I think I shared this with you. Somebody was like, "Oh, you guys should." Oh no, it wasn't in a training room, and somebody had brought it up about how can we basically make the workplace better, or kind of, you can say, to hype each other out.
Yeah.
One of them said, "Oh, you should do what Mike used to do." That's what I think you were with Repec, I believe, and they were for like a week or something. And they're like, "Oh, you guys should call all top order selectors. That will get them going." And I know, like, I do that every single time you do that. People be like, "Okay, I'm gonna be the first place, or I'm gonna be at least in the top 10." And I feel like that's good because it motivates.
It does.
It motivates people to be at that top level.
Yeah, because you're hearing your name over the warehouse.
Yeah.
With 175 people there. You know what I mean? And you get to hear your name, and they'll come to your desk and be like, "Hey, did you call my name?"
Yeah.
I thought I heard it. It's things like that that get people motivated. And and there's another thing that I was talking to Greg about, like doing something for all functions, right? For those top selectors for, like, the prior week. Like, you probably seen Derek with the championship belt and stuff like that. But I'm like, man, that's cheesy. I want to go a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I want the championship belt, but I want one that we can basically customize, right?
Yeah.
You can put, like, top performer on the bottom. You can put, like, replan driver or something.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, you'll have the DG logo, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then you can customize the logo a different color for the different functions, right?
Yeah.
So Greg's all for it, and he's like, man, but we need a belt big enough to fit around people's waist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Like, here you go. Here's one that's $160. Customizable. So I know he's working on it, but it's little things like that, man, that even, man, when you see somebody be like, hey, where were you at on your percent?
Yeah.
And they'll say, oh, I was at 110, and you just tell them good job, or 105, or even in the mid-90s, bro. It's like when they've been struggling, and you give them that extra resurgence, like, hey, great job, keep it up, don't fall below that, like, stay consistent, don't stop and talk, don't stop and do this, like, you just got to keep going and going and going. And then once they feel like you're behind them, PLAP, they'll come to you, and they'll be like, hey, Mike, I was at 105, hey, great job, now stop talking to me and go back to work. Like things like that. So
Yeah.
It's just things like that, man. Leadership ain't. Yes, you're the boss, but it's not. For me, man, it's developing people to go to that next level, right? And then me as a leader, I get the ultimate satisfaction when they go on to the next level, right? Like I was that person's mentor. You know what I mean? And I ask anybody, and PLAP, like if you have any questions on anything, man, I will answer it. Because I've been through it all. I've been through it all, man. I've been around to different DCs, helping them out. None in Dollar General yet, but like I said, I'm always looking at something on YouTube on leadership. Never will I ever think I'm better than anybody else. And I think that's what hurts a lot of leaders, because they do think that right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So fire away, man. If y'all got any questions, go right ahead.
Alex.
No, yeah, man. I think that all of that is great, bro. Like you touched upon a lot of little good subjects on leadership in itself, a lot of different aspects, characteristics of what makes a good leader. I think that one of the things that intrigued me the most, though, is the fact that like you walk your talk. You feel me? Like you basically put action behind your words, and it just kind of reminded me of like the story of what was it? I think it was on the subtle art of not giving a fuck, where he was talking about like it's like when you're a leader, bro. Like you mentioned, like the way that you present yourself, like everybody should know. It's like if I'm brown, bro, like I shouldn't really be telling everybody that I'm brown. You get me? Like you could just see it in the way that I present myself. Another important thing, bro, that you touched upon, of course, was the body language, the psychology of like actually dealing with a lot of people, a bunch of different. Like you get me? Like there's some people that they might be having a rough day, and you approach them and they come at you the wrong way, right? So I remember like just kind of like learning in sports psychology, right? Because I went to college, right? Studied some kinesiology, and one of the big things that we learned was sports psychology and just dealing with parents, because we were in sports psychology. A lot of it was like teens and kids stuff. So ultimately, like our psychologist was basically talking about like when you're dealing with somebody that's like very emotional, or somebody that's like on the brink of like losing their mind. He talked about like how in those certain moments, just like you mentioned, like you should just let those people explode, because a lot of times those people are just an emotional, like they're in an emotional space, and even though like you're talking to them from like a logical standpoint, they won't get it. So my question is to you, bro, is like how do you deal with like all of these different like people with different attitudes, characteristics, right? Like what are like good things to look for, bro, like as you're approaching them or trying to correct them or giving them advice?
See, I mean, like I was telling you guys, when I first started off, I didn't know what to expect as a leader, right?
Yeah. And
then when I saw like all these different emotions coming at you and things like that, and it kind of threw me back, like, holy shit, nobody prepared me for this. Right? So I kind of had to learn on my own. Like, so the one thing you want to do is you don't want them to basically show their emotion in front of everybody else, right? So what I usually do is, if I feel somebody's on that brink, like you were saying, Alex, like on that brink of breaking down or something like that, I always take them off of the floor, take them to another room, let them sit down, right? And then, because right then and there, like, you don't want to do that, because then what? You're going to be embarrassed, right?
Yeah.
And I, for one, will feel bad, even worse for them, when they're breaking down in front of everybody, because then everybody's just going to stare and be like, first thing on their mind is, oh shit, Mike's getting onto that person, he's making them cry.
Yeah.
So now I'm the bad leader, right? And they don't know. All they're doing is assuming, and that's the one thing you don't want to do as a leader, is assume what's happening, right? You don't ever want to assume. You want to go and give that employee the benefit of the doubt and be like, okay, well, let's see what's really going on. So once, I usually start off by like, how are you doing and stuff like that. And if I can tell like in their face, like they're just like, crap, here I go. I'm about to, okay, let's, come over here. Let's go upstairs, or let's go to this corner or something like that, right? Or if they feel, if you have that respect for that employee right away, they'll just come up to you and be like, hey, Mike, can I talk to you over here for a little bit, right? And I'm not going to want to be like, no, you're going to talk to me right here, right now, because some employees some leaders are like that. Like, oh, no, I ain't got time to go over there. You're going to talk to me right here, in front of everybody. That's a big no-no. I always, first thing is, even if I know they're not going to break down, man, I always want to be like one-on-one with them.
Yeah.
So they know that, okay, well, he wants to be with me, so then I know that his mind is going to be right there with me and not looking at this guy driving by or looking at that person over there picking or anything like that. Like, he's got his full attention to me.
Mm.
You know, and I think that's what it is, man. It's and luckily, you know, with me, I haven't dealt with that many people. But like I was saying earlier on, you can't treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
You know, I can't talk to somebody the way I can talk to PLAP and think that I'm going to get the same response from that person that I do PLAP.
Yeah.
You know, so it.
Even at the desk, like there's times when I'm not saying harsh or anything, but just like direct. You know what I mean? And
oh yeah.
And some people can't take direct. They can't take truth, right? They can't take, you know. Obviously, when you're at the desk, it's not, I think this. So it's not what you think. It's about facts, right? But in the beginning, I was like, I'm gonna be honest. In the beginning, I didn't like the desk because I was like, man, there's a lot. There's too many questions, you know, like.
It's a lot, bro.
Like I had to humble myself. I even told others I have to humble myself and learn everybody's perspective for once. But you're right. You can't. I don't know if Greg told you, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know if you knew how I used to be. I used to be like, I used to wear my temper on my sleeve, right? I was, you know.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, like.
And that's probably the worst thing that you can do.
Yeah.
Is wear your emotions on the outside.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. But like I said, now I understand. You know, like now I understand. I finally understand not just being a leader and being a student, but how to take the truth and how you respond to it. You know, because you can. Hey, why do we have these so many ways open? I can be like, I can put up an excuse, but you cannot fake results, right? And I'm big on that.
The one thing, your response should never be is, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even in the leadership spot, man, it's like, you know, Greg or anybody, you know, the ADs, the directors or something could come up to you and be like, you know, hey, Mike, what's going on here? And I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, what it would then right then and there, you're in the doghouse, right? Because now you're telling them, like, you don't know what's going on. You know, and like I said, you know, Alex, it's man, I got two other students with me, and I feel like I'm by myself. You know what I mean? So to me, I feel like I got to know like everything that's going on.
Yeah.
You know, and I put that upon myself, like, you know, you need to know what's going on, because once your boss comes up to you and asks you like all this other, you know, I'm like, yeah, I know it, but go ask them too if they know it. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm usually not the type to be like, yeah, go get their asses. You know what I mean? Because communication, like I said, man, it's really, really key. And I don't want my boss to be in my business.
Yeah.
Meaning I'm going to give them all the communication they need, like, you know, the trend, like how we're looking, you know, everything like that. Like, they know everything. They come up to me, ask me how many people we have picking, how many people we have doing other things. And I'm usually like spot on with it, right? And I think part of leadership is, you know, one, being able to hold your temper, right, PLAP, not wearing it on your sleeve, not wearing it on your face, you know, because, and I tell everybody, man, the things I get from hourlies is, oh man, I'm tired, or oh, I got this going on in my life, or I got this. So, you know, my response to them is like, you know, I'm sorry you got all that going on, but you don't think anybody else in this warehouse has anything going on outside of work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to push that aside, because now you're affecting your job, which then would affect you having a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then what are you going to do? And you ain't going to have money to buy whatever you want to buy or to do things you want to do when you get paid, right? It's, you know, being in logistics, man, is hard work. You get paid damn good money to do that job. You know, like I tell a lot of people when they come in and interviews, I'm like, man, this ain't no, you know, easy going. Like, you are going to feel some aches and pains in your body that, you know, once you get that check and you see how much you're getting paid a week, you'll be like, damn, okay. But then a lot of people are just there just to make the money, right? They don't want to do the work, you know. And I'm like, man, you can make extra money if you hit production for the week and, you know, attendance and all that stuff. I'm like, you can make some really good money. As a salary employee, you don't, you know, as a salary, I don't get paid an extra dime for doing anything. And, you know, we have to go in on extra days. I'm not getting compensated. You know, and that's what I see a lot of the leaders now, man. They're just like, we should be getting paid an extra day. Or we should, why? You know, like, is it is it really about the money for you, or is it about, being a leader and doing what's right for this building, for the company, right?
Well,
like I said, like having a title, man, it's all great, but it's really not everything. It's not. It doesn't feel good when people say, "Oh yeah, that's my supervisor." Of course it does, but I don't call myself a supervisor. I call myself a leader. Right. So, and to me, I think a leader is a lot stronger word than a supervisor or a manager.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
for
it's
sure.
like you want everybody to succeed in everything that they do. Even if you want to pick your whole damn life, you better be the best damn picker, and I'll make sure you are the best damn picker, right? I'll make sure you're doing everything right. I'll make sure you're following, the SOPs and having all the tools that you need to succeed. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel is that, the money is great. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, Walmart set me and my family up nice that, DG is just DG money. You know what I'm saying? You still got to, look at your 401s and stuff like that. Make sure you're set up for your families. And to me, it's about the family. Like, what can I do to make it better for my family? Because in a perfect world, man, I don't want my wife to work.
Yeah.
I would love for her just to stay home. And I think any man would want their significant other just to be at home, right?
True.
And, it's just looking at things like that. And every single day, man, I go into that warehouse, PLAP. I'm thinking, like, what can I do better?
Wow.
Even when I leave, what could I possibly have done different? Friday night was an early night, right?
Yeah.
So as a leader, man, it's like you have to understand, like hours, volume and things like that, right? So we had 35,000 on Friday night.
Yeah.
We got everybody out. I don't know, midnight, 11:30, midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought process through that whole day is, man, we can't keep anybody here 10 hours. There's no freaking way.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna kill our building if we do that.
Yeah.
So Greg would, with Greg not being there, Juan Hernandez not being there. So I was basically kind of like the acting manager in a way,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm the most tenured guy there. But I didn't go around telling everybody, like, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
They kind of knew, you know what I mean? They kind of already knew who was going to be the one to, like, ask questions to, right?
Yeah.
And again, that's not me going around and telling them that. Like Alex said, that's me walking the walk and talk, whatever I'm talking about, I'm doing it. And I think that's with the respect and having that open mind to everybody. Not like, hourly coming up to you or a soup one even, and I'm just sitting back like rolling my eyes and like, bro, you're not even on my level, right? Never would I say that.
Yeah.
Never would I say that. And I think a lot of people had that in their heads, like, okay, I'm it.
Yeah.
I'm soup. And hourly come up and ask them for a suggestion or whatever, or hey, do you think we can move this? Nope. Why? Because you got a lot of leaders now, bro, that are like, I'm not going to listen to what one hourly tells me, even though it could be the greatest idea in the world. But why do you think they want to listen to him? Because they didn't think of the idea.
Yeah.
Because that leader wasn't the one that brought it up. It was an hourly that did it. Which is fine.
Somebody had actually told me, it's like, I brought up something that like, you don't want to bring that up. Just make sure you tell the supervisor so they can feel like they came up with the idea. And in my mind, I'm like, like in my mind, I'm like, to me, it doesn't really. I mean, to me, it matters and it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it's like I me, man. Like I see myself.
Yeah.
I don't have a title, but I see myself as the leader. Like there's times you're like, hey, do this, do that, do this, do that. I'll do it, right? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, I see myself as a leader at work and at home. At least
right.
I'm human. We're human, and at least I try. And that's.
Well, when I'm at home, I'm not the boss, bro. When I'm at home, I'm not the boss. That's the wife, bro. So I'm just like, whatever you want done, honey. I'll do whatever you want done. But no, you're right, PLAP. I mean, you have to have that kind of mindset at work, right? Because, I'm not always there at the desk, right? So you have to make those decisions on if somebody comes up to you and you tell them, like, hey, I need you to go do a book over here. Nah, man, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
You have to have that authority, like, you are a picker. Like, that's what you do in Zone 50. Like, go pick this book and get out of my face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Treating everybody the same, man. And because you don't want to tell that person, okay, yeah, you're good. Go back to 30. And then that person right next to him, you're trying to send him to another zone, and they could be like, bro, but you just sent that guy back to his other zone. Like, why you? That's the stuff you don't want to get into, because then you're gonna open up a whole door of like a mess.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Like last time, there was a book that was missing. We printed it, and Greg was like, I was running the desk, and Greg's like, can you go pick the book? And I was like, okay. And I went to go pick the book, and I came back to run the desk again. You know, I believe it was on a. I don't know if it was on a. I think it was on a Friday.
Yeah.
And I went.
I mean, and that's the thing, dude, about not even just being a leader, but in general, like Greg, would text me and be like, hey, even if I'm off, like, hey, I need you to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Shit, man, I got plans, right?
Yeah.
Can't say that when you're in leadership, bro. It's like, because you're basically 24/7. If he wants you to work, go in and work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He may know you don't like it, but that's just a part of the job.
Of course.
Yeah, man, I love being in leadership, though. I really do. I love learning about it. I like to study Greg. Like the next level kind of guy, like how he controls himself and how he reacts to certain situations, right? It's just things like that, man. There's never an ending to learning. Never an ending to learning.
And it's crazy because like you say how you studied Greg. That's how I study you and Greg. Like there's times Greg walking around and you walking around, and Greg is cleaning, and I'm like, in my mind I'm like, you and Greg, and I'm like, yeah, they don't have to clean.
That's a leader, exactly.
You're a I know you don't like to be called a supervisor, but yeah, you're like a supervisor, and he's a assistant director. And in my mind I'm like, they're not supposed to be cleaning, And then to me, like it's humbling to me because it shows you what type of leaders we got. You know what I mean? It shows you like you guys are not afraid to get your hands dirty.
Right. And I'm no better. Like I can pick up trash. Like I'm not like that high up on the chain that I can't pick up a piece of trash on the ground. Because if any hourly sees, a leader doing that, we're not leading by example. But yeah, we're sitting there putting it in their head like, clean as you go. Like don't roll over that slip sheet, don't roll over that piece of trash. But yeah, we're walking right over it.
Yeah.
It's things like that, man. But yeah, there's never an ending to learning anything, man. Like at all. I really think it's cool what y'all are doing, though, man. I do, PLAP, I guess, kind of was surprised that I told him that I do listen to y'all stuff.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, really? And I'm like, I'm telling you, man, even if you're just starting, like, I would listen to anybody that has anything to do with leadership or motivational stuff, Because, like I said, it's, 20 plus years, man, 25 plus years. Been doing this since I was 19. 44 now. So it's like, and I'm still wanting to learn.
Yeah.
Wow. So when I brought it to PLAP on Friday, like, hey man, when's y'all's next thing? Like, I'll join it. I think right then and there, he's like, wait, what? Like, bro, I'm like not a big guy on anything, bro. So I'll make time to do, to do whatever, to help y'all out, whatever y'all need.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Y'all are doing some good things, man. I like it. Just stay consistent. That's that word, PLAP.
Yeah. That's what we try. That's what we're trying. We're trying. Yeah. I just have a question.
Sure.
Yeah. Like, do you think like it's very important or a very valuable thing for a leader to also do? Just like you mentioned, like you do some of like the things that like your workers do. Do you think that like that is an important element to have as a leader, just because of the fact that like you're understanding the ins and outs of like not just what your workers are doing, but also like the business that you're involved in as a whole?
Yeah, exactly, Alex. Because we can go out there, like, say, because I have a background in order selecting, right? So I know when I'm talking about it, it's because I've been through it.
Yeah.
So if you got somebody that's come on and has no idea the processes at all about order selecting, and you're sitting there trying to get on your person or writing somebody up for not following something, me as an hourly, I'll be like, explain to me what that is.
Yeah.
And then you're like putting that supervisor on kind of like in the spotlight, like, oh shit, maybe I don't know this, right? But I think knowing what you're preaching, and having a passion about it, I think it's really key, bro. And And like I said, like I'll go out there and I think the last time I did pick PLAP, I did like 139%.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like on top of the list of everybody, and you know me, PLAP, like I highlighted my name, you know, and I'm like, y'all are letting this old man beat
Put little
y'all.
stars.
Right, yeah. You're letting this old man beat you guys. So, and it's a morale booster, Alex. It really does well because if they see you on a piece of equipment, man, I could just be driving a piece of equipment from one point just to the next to get it charged, man. And people are like, "Oh, you're selecting?" No, I'm just moving it. But even then, they're like, "Damn, he didn't even have to do that. He could have got somebody else to do it."
Yeah, like last time when you were order selecting, there was a lot of people saying, "Hey, did you see Mike is picking? Hey, did you see him picking?" I'm like, I even went because I think I was counting at the time. And
Yeah.
And
you came over to see me. Yeah.
I already knew, but I was like, I want to go see, you know.
And that goes around the whole warehouse, bro. Not just in full case. Like people in inbound were coming and like, damn, they said you were picking, but I didn't believe it. Sweating, polo shirt, still tucked in, radio on, you know, and you know, I'm trying to hum it and get through with it because if I stop, man, I would probably pass out. So I'm just trying to get done with it quick. But yeah, no, but I think knowing, you know, the processes on everything, man, I think is really key as a leader. Just because you want to know what you're telling your employees to follow and to do.
Yeah, like the same way that like you go out there and do some of like your employees' work. Do you think like someday in the future, do you think it would be like a good idea? Because you know how like a lot of the times like as employers we look at the boss, like some of us, right? Like we have the idea like, oh, the boss is there and like, or the supervisor, the manager, and they're just there because so and so. Do you think like one day in the future, do you think it'd be like a good idea to just like, I don't know, maybe get like just an employee and just kind of like show them basically what a day looks like in a supervisor, just for them to understand also like, hey man, it's more than just like sitting on your ass and just doing paperwork? Or do you think that'd be like
I mean, oh yeah, for sure, man. And like I tell PLAP all the time, like, man, being a supervisor, a lot of people tell me, you know, I make it look easy, right? But it's really not, man. Like if you can get inside my brain and see how the wheels are turning all the time, like, you know, always. But you know, Alex, I agree with you 100%, man. Like I think it is like at the Walmart DC where I was at, we were able to pull like an employee off the floor, some kind of contest that we had. You know, like if they were the top selector, they can have like a day in the life of the supervisor, right?
Shit.
Come in early with them and basically be with them throughout the whole day, like what they go through on a day-to-day basis, and then it kind of opens up their eyes, like, damn. So they don't just stand at the desk, or they don't just do this. They're answering. You know, PLAP sees me all the time, man. I'm always on my phone, like texting or on it, talking to somebody, or answering the radio, or on the phone, paging people out. I think that really opens up their mind, like, damn. So they're not just here just to write us up. That's what a lot of people think leaders are. Is they're just there to write us up or to get us fired, or they don't want me here. No, because I tell everybody, man, that's the part of my job I don't like, is to write you up. But who controls that? The hourlies control that. Like, I'm not going out to target you. If you're doing something wrong and it deems a write up, it's gonna happen, right? Because there's a job that I have to follow. You know, I have to get, and that's what I tell, man. I tell everybody in the warehouse, like, everybody's got a customer, right? You know, I don't know if I've told you, PLAP, like, you know, you talk about the whole processes that we have at DG, right? So you got the put away drivers. Oh, you know, you got the unloaders, right? So their customers are our checkers, right? You have to make sure they're unloading the right stuff for the checkers to check in. Checkers got to make sure they're doing the right stuff for their customer, which is the put away drivers. Yeah. You know, the put away drivers customers are our replan drivers, so they got to make sure they're putting up the right product. Yeah. Replan drivers got to bring it down, and their customers are order selectors, right? So they got to make sure they're bringing the right product to them. Order selectors customers are our loaders, right? So we got to make sure as order selectors that everything is tight in the RTs, nothing's overhanging, nothing's just stupid. Like, it's got the nets, it's got the wheels and all that stuff, right? And then our loaders, like, their customers are our truck drivers, right? Because we want to make sure that our truck drivers, when they open up the doors, are not getting pegged in the head with the case. Yeah. You know, like a juice or anything like that, right? So it's like my customer is my boss, you know, Juan, you know, and Juan's boss is Greg, and that's his customer, right? So, you know, you want to make sure that you're taking care of your customer, right? Like, I want to make sure that I got all the accountability stuff done, and because I don't want my boss to get questioned by his boss. Yeah. So that's the mindset that I don't think a lot of people have, is who am I affecting when I do this job this way?
Wow, that's good.
A lot of people don't think that, bro. A lot of people don't think it because you're out there, and what do we push a lot? Production, right? Y'all got to hit 100%. You're going to get held accountable this week. But if you're just going to go through like your assignment and not give a shit about what you're doing or how you're doing it, but you're going to leave it off to that next person in line, now you're screwing up their production. Now you're screwing up their money. You know what I mean? So having that mind frame, like when I was a picker, bro, every single case I picked up and I put it in there, I'm like, okay, that's good. Okay, that's perfect. They're going to be able to just to slide it into the truck, right?
Yeah.
If one's just sticking out just a little bit, like what can I do to, get this flush in there, right? And that's what I think a lot of people need to change their mindset on that is who am I affecting down the line? You know what I mean? And that's what I go through every single day, bro. Every single day, like, is repack going to be okay? Like, who can I, am I going to need to give them help? You know what I mean? Like, you have to have that. Not just be like, have your blinders on, just think about your own little area. You have to think about the whole warehouse in general.
Yeah.
Like if we're that far ahead on replans, like let's slide people over there or let's slide people to repack, or you have to always be thinking, bro. You have to always be thinking. And I'm the one that I'll even go to Derek, Preston, Alex, which is our other two supervisors in full case, and I would ask them like, hey, so who are we gonna send here? Or who do we have in water? Or who do we have? And they won't know. Yeah. And I think and shame on them, right? Because they're supposed to know who's where.
Yeah.
And like I said, question is key. Like if Greg would really be an a-hole and he would go over there and ask some questions, like to me, I think accountability needs to be held on leaders as well.
Yeah.
Like we're no better that we can't receive any kind of paperwork either.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I egg them on. Like if I'm doing something wrong, bro, like tell me.
Yeah.
Like write me up. Like make yourself feel good. Like write me up. Like I'm not gonna go cry, but I can tell you right now that that'll probably be the last write up I'll get.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you become better.
Right.
Takes,
And as many years, fellas, as I've had as a leader, I've always done a checklist. Always have a checklist. I'm no bigger than anybody that I don't have a checklist because I don't want to be driving home, to my wife and kids and be thinking about work.
Yeah.
Because once I hit that door, bro, like my mind is all my family. That's it. Yeah. So knowing like, marking off what I did, throughout the day, and things like that makes me feel good. And then I turn that into my boss. Like, here, this is what I did today. I covered all my bases and I covered everything you wanted me to do. And if I didn't get to it, I'm not going to mark it off, right? Because that's your integrity part of it. Because me, once I take that next step, PLAP, like, these supervisors ain't going to be ready, bro. They're not going to be ready because I'm already like thinking like what I want them to do, right? Like what I want from them, because, and I think that's where I think when our building falls apart, I think it's on the leaders. Mm-hmm. Because they're afraid to hold and to have that kind of conversation with employees, right? And you can't do that when you're in leadership. You have to have those kind of hard conversations, right? If you're not going to have, if you're afraid to have those conversations, then leadership's not for you because you're going to have those day to day. Like every single day, if you see somebody doing something wrong, you're going to have the balls and the guts to go up there and tell them like, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Or why are you doing that? Or why do you think what you're doing is safe? Kind of open a conversation, right? Like, don't just go at them and be like, no, you're not going to say a damn thing. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, right? You want to ask them like, why do you possibly think what you were doing was the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Open it up because then eventually they're going to tell on themselves. Some of them would just be like, man, I'm just lazy. Okay. So your laziness is going to give you a write-up. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that because I don't want to have to make that phone call to your significant other and say, so-and-so got hurt at work because he was just being lazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Warehousing is, warehouse. And I've seen, bro, being a leader, I've seen people get so complacent in their job that they think what they're doing is right and they end up getting hurt. Or, and so the Walmart DC, it was kind of like how our Gen 1 buildings are planned with all the extendables and stuff like that in our shipping lanes, right? So
So that's how it was at the Walmart DC. So, you know, one loader was loading a trailer and his belt got stuck because he had a whole bunch of freight on it and it was just too heavy. They had like gloves with grip on it, right? So in his mind was like, oh, I know how I can get this thing going. I'm just going to have the, you know, kind of with my gloves, hold on to the belt and kind of pull it towards me, right? Dude pulls it towards him. The belt kicks on and the glove that he has like real good grip. Sucked his hand underneath and basically degloved him. And I'm talking like took off the glove and took off his skin. So as a leader, man, you being in that spot and seeing that happen, man, you got to really think on the spot, just as like what leadership is in general. Like you have to be ready to think like what to do. You know, like kill the power, cut the belt so that his arm could get free. You know, his hand could get free. And we saved his hand, but he had to have a lot of therapy and stuff. So. And I think that's a lot of the kids at work, man. They don't believe that piece of equipment that they're on can kill you in an instant, bro. In an instant. Yeah. You know, and being a leader, you have to walk. You have to be seen. They have to feel your presence, even when they don't see you. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because I could walk, you know, down an aisle, and if two drivers are just sitting there chit chatting, and you know, they're just chilling. And they just see me walking, like, what do you think they do? Bam, there they go.
Start working.
because they see you walking, right?
Yeah.
So that to me is like, okay, so they know they're not supposed to be doing that, you know, but why were they doing it? Yeah. So then you go and find them and be like, come on, like that's pretty obvious. Like I saw y'all from a distance and you guys both took off. Like y'all were doing what y'all weren't supposed to be doing. Like it stops. You know what I mean? And I could just kick you out. You know, I mean. Hell, if you want to complain or you don't want to do your work, then I'll need you here to make money. So you can go ahead and leave. You know, and I don't want to be that way, but then again, my job is to make sure the building's running efficient. Of course. Right? And if you're going to sit there and you're going to chit-chat, but yet I got another driver who's driving from wall to wall, busting his tail, how's that fair to him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, those are the kind of things that you have to keep in your mind, too, as a leader. And you know, maybe they could be talking about work, but you know, if you walk by and they're still there, they're not talking about work. Ain't nobody talking about work that long, right? So they're asking about what they're going to do over the weekend or probably Friday, like Friday PLAP, like where were they going to go drink and stuff like that, right? But man, I'm always learning. You know, I don't think I'm ever going to stop learning. You know, and I'm always going to be there for anybody that wants to learn about leadership, like I said, man, I still feel that there's room to grow. A lot of people say that, you know, I'm next level, you know, which I appreciate the hell out of them for saying that. But I still think there's a long ways to go, right? And just being open-minded and being humble, I think is probably the best thing. And once you get into leadership that you need to be, because there's a lot of people that are fighting to get where you need to be. You don't need to be an asshole. You don't need to be thinking you're better than them. Because you're probably in that spot because of your employees making you look that good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've had people that have switched schedules when I got switched. Yeah. You know, have wanted to come in if they know that I'm working a certain schedule, that want to come in for extra. And that makes me feel good. It does, right? Because one, it means I'm treating them fair. Yeah. And they like how I run things. You know, and I don't make it a stressful environment because as stressful as it is, there's no need for you as a leader to make it that much stressful, right? Because like I said, PLAP, like I already know what's going on. I already know how to get ourselves out of trouble. You know, I just want to see if other people know how to do it themselves. Well, and if not, then do you have the courage and do you have the guts, you know, to kind of suck it up and be like, bro, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, help me. And I don't think that's necessarily just for our leaders. I think that's for leaders too, because there's a lot of leaders, man, that they just need to put their tail between their legs, man, and just ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just ask.
I agree.
You know what I mean? But yeah, but those are the ones that, bro, they just got that title when they're just like, okay, I'm up here now. Y'all are down here beneath me. Yeah. Never would I think that. And I would want somebody to tell me, like, damn, bro, you've changed because of a title. Yeah. Nobody's ever told me that. The 20-something years I've been in leadership. Nobody has ever told me that I've changed. You can ask Brandon, and Brandon will probably tell you that the way I am now is how I was with him at Walmart.
Now, man,
never changed because of a title.
No, man,
What's that?
that's really good, bro. Because it just kind of like feels like your core values just align with the way that you treat people and the way that you
Mm-hmm.
lead your group or your workers, right? Because I've been in certain situations, bro. Like I remember one of my first jobs at a gym here in Hollywood. I had a guy that he basically he was like a big military dude. So he was actually from the Marines, I believe, and the way
Uh-huh.
that he would lead us was basically very contradicting. So he would talk a lot about like, oh, we're a family, we're a unit. You get me, like that type of military talk, like we're a
Yeah.
team or whatever. And then when it came down to the decisions, it was literally like, oh no, like we don't do that. Oh, we don't do this. We don't do that. Oh, at the end of the day, like if you're like, he basically always referred back to military. He was basically like, oh, at the end of the day, like when you're in those top teams, like only you guys are only supposed to listen to one guy, and it's like, bro, like you're telling us like
Yeah.
one thing, and it's so contradictory to like the way that
Mm-hmm.
you want to lead us, basically.
Right, and I mean that's a good point, and that's what I've seen a lot too, man. Is people saying one thing because it's what they're told to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, no, you want to tell them something that you really, care for, and that you're going to follow up on. Also, like, you don't ever, as a leadership spot, want to throw your bosses under the bus, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't ever want to go and be like, oh, this is what the AD said we have to do, right? As a leadership spot, you want everybody to make sure that everybody on each level of leadership is on the same page, right? Because like you would never hear me say, Gray wants us to do it this way, or Chris, which is our director, he wants us to do it this way. Nope, this is how we're going to do it. This is how it's going to go along the whole all shifts. This is the plan, right? You don't ever want to, because once you throw your bosses under the bus, man, you already lost everything.
Yeah.
Because now they're just going to go around the warehouse. The employees aren't going to be like, oh man, Greg's telling us to do it this way. Like, this is stupid. Like, why don't they just listen to Mike? And you don't want to have that division. You don't want to have that divided at all. Because once that happens, man, it's going to take you forever to get that in. Like, you want things to be kind of like in here, right? You don't want them to get snowball and be outside to where it's going to take you years to get back, and sometimes not even get back at all. Well, and I think that's what a lot of leaders need to think too. Like, you want to kind of keep it. I talk about like an organized chaos, right? Because sometimes you could go in, it could just be complete chaos.
Yeah.
But if there's some organization behind it, man, like, and I could that stuff to my bosses, they'll be fine. But if it's just complete, like a bomb exploded and we don't know what the hell to do or where to start or anything like that, then why are you in the spot that you're in? You know what I mean? Because people get into leadership spots because they can lead, because they can get their teams out of certain situations, right? So, and I'm thinking when you're faced with something, man, like how you respond to it, I think goes a long, long way too. But like you said, man, being contradicting ain't a good look for a leader.
No,
Not at all.
No, yeah, and you're right, bro. Because ultimately, like the thing with the facility that I was in, everything fell apart, bro. Because technically, like a lot of people would leave because they didn't like the way that things were run, or a lot of people just kind of like left, or even like when they would have interviews, they wouldn't come back like the next day. It was just kind of like a lot of people read through their bullshit, and as I stayed there, like just kind of working under the company, like a lot of people would tell me, it's like, bro, like why you here, like like basically because everybody would always be coming in and out. They're like, you're like literally like the longest person that actually has, like I'm not gonna say the manager's name, but you're the longest guy that's worked under her, so and so. And it's like, I mean, well, besides the fact that I need a job, like I thought it was like a cool place, but now you get me, like the more we had like meetings and you saw people kind of like the team just kind of fell apart in general, because going back to like what I was saying is like the manager would ask us for like suggestions, and at the end of the day nobody would answer, but because at the end of the day it was like, you're gonna do whatever you want, so like why are you asking us to begin with?
Right. Yeah, and you talk about losing people, and some companies, man, they'll lose good people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right, because of the way a leader is, and PLAP, we've seen it at DG, man. We've lost so many people just because of the way a certain supervisor treated them, right?
Yeah.
And shame on us for letting that happen. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're gonna have to bring in new people. You're gonna have to train them, and you're hoping that they catch on and they know the job and they do the job right. Instead of as a leader being there for them on everything that they want. Like you can't get frustrated
because your employee wants to come and talk to you about something. You just can't. You can't, because if they see like, oh shit, I'm afraid to go talk to Mike because when I go up to him and he always like rolls his eyes or something like that. Like, you don't ever want to have that. You don't ever want to. You're going to be like, damn. Then they go to HR and like, man, we can't even go to our supervisor because he's always throwing a fit right away, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, man, there's so much stuff, man, and I don't know how long y'all are trying to go, with this, but yeah, I could talk about this like all day long, man. I really can. And PLAP knows because I could get him and there's times when I see PLAP like just standing there, right, PLAP, and I'll be like, PLAP, what are you doing? PLAP gets all like crazy and stuff, right? And he's like, no, don't explain to me what you're doing, man. Just go do it, right? And that's how it is, bro. That's how being a leader is. Like, you have to make sure everybody's doing their job.
And I want to say this though, like in the beginning, like when I wasn't really on production, but I see counts as production, because you have to produce, right? And and even putting RTs or doing different things, it's always production, right?
See, and that goes back to what I was telling you, PLAP, about everybody has a customer. Like, if you don't bring those RTs up to the front at a certain time, what's going to happen?
Yeah, we can't order select. And,
right.
And in the beginning, like, I would always wanted to go with you guys because I was like, I wanted to go to you, and when Ray was there, I'll go to you guys because I'll be like, okay, well, I at least want them to know what I'm doing. But even though you guys were already new, I just wanted to like make sure. But then obviously, like during the time to where I'm at now, like it's like they trust me to get the job done, and they already know what I'm doing. They know that I'm gonna get it done. I don't have to keep coming back. Hey,
Yeah. And that's what I tell you, man. Just do the job. You don't have to tell every single person like what you're doing because, if one of us knows what you're doing, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Because then they'll come and question us like, hey, what do you got PLAP doing? Oh, he's doing this, right?
Yeah.
It's. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, but that to me, when people do that, PLAP, they're trying to take themselves away from what they're doing.
Yeah.
Not saying that's what you're doing, but when I see people sit there and talk or whatever, right? They don't want to work. And like I said, like I'll quickly kick you out of the door, like quick. You know what I mean? But give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're just having a bad day and they want to talk to their friend about something or whatever. But if it's that same person that keeps doing it and doing it and doing it constantly, then they probably have to go.
Yeah.
So in our line, it's like, you have bad terms and you have ones that are really good for the company, right? Ones that are bad for morale, ones that bring everybody down, that wants to go out there and talk crap about leaders or employees in general, right? And that's what you want to have. That's what you want to stop as a leader. Like, you want everybody to be, and I tell everybody, like, you ain't got to be the best of friends, but you sure as hell better be enough friends to where you get through the day together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you ain't got to talk to, you ain't got to talk to anybody. Like, I don't have to make the best of friends in leadership, but I'll work alongside you. You better be putting in your work as much as I put in mine, because if not, I'm probably the guy that you don't want to mess around with, when it comes to that. Like I told you, PLAP, I'll continue to do what I do. Like, if you want to make yourself look bad, I'll surely add on top of that. Because I'm not trying to stay there, longer than I already have. You know what I mean? Because, again, you ain't making no extra dough, as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whatever you get is whatever you get. So, whether I'm there 9 hours to 12 hours, I'm making the same amount.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, it's not about, I can sit here and talk about money and all that stuff too, guys. But to me, man, and I think if you ask Greg PLAP, like, he would tell you, like, I've always told him it's never about the money for me. Never about the money. It's great compensation and stuff like that, but it's about growing and then being in the position where you could help others grow in what they want to do in their careers, right? And then Greg in his career, like, he wants to grow, right? He wants to get better, and and I lean on him a lot of stuff too. When your AD is calling you and asking you about stuff that he should probably be asking his manager, you're kind of on your way, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's how I feel I am, and that's how I feel he treats me, in a way. So that's why I tell you, man, I'm tired of getting my butt chewed out.
Yeah.
You better get this right, or you're gonna get off this desk. And I'm straight up with you, PLAP. Like, I'm transparent to you as can be, because I think that's key too, is to be transparent. with your employees.
And that's,
to let them know how it is and not sugarcoat nothing. Like, look, bro, you're really fucking up right now.
Yeah. No,
like, you're really fucking up. So you gotta get it. You gotta get us back to where we need to be.
and that's good because like accountability is good. And I love like you said about like that. Greg sees something in you, right? Like he could have went to the manager, but he told you because he sees something in you.
Yeah.
And I kind of had that feeling when you or when Greg told me one time I went to his office. He's like, you came a long way, and you told me that too. And to me, like I don't take that lightly because like you guys see the growth,
Mm-hmm.
and not just in myself, but again others as well. And to me, like I said, I don't take that lightly because you cannot fake results,
Right.
And you see it, but again with the whole desk thing, I get it, and I know you told me that, and I was like, okay, like I even told you today's gonna be statement day, and to me it's like I just want to keep growing. I want to ask questions. Alguien would always tell me. Alguien would always tell me, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And that was
right.
I was like, if I make a mistake, I don't want it to cost my job, because I love my job. I love what I do. I love the company. I love all of that, and wherever it takes me, it takes me. But like, I'm big on it, the whole integrity part. I'm big on the whole and everything. But that really, it's really something that I'm very humbled for. That when you guys say things like that, it's like, okay. I know that I'm on my way, like you said,
See, and you gotta, and you have to stay humble, man. And then when people give you those kind of compliments and stuff like that, you can't give yourself a big head either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you get somebody like, man, you're amazing at the desk, and then he's gonna go out and tell everybody, like, man, they just said I'm amazing at the desk, and then they're walking around with the biggest head in the world, and then they put pressure on themselves, right? Because now they're like, damn it. Because if you're gonna walk around and say you're amazing at something, and I see you mess up, I'm gonna be like, you know what I'm saying?
What happened?
Alex knows, like, see, like, bro, like, really? Now you're gonna go around and toot your own horn and say you're this and that, and then you can't even do, So it's taking the compliments and then working on getting even better, right? And to me, man, compliments, like you don't have to tell me like I'm doing a great job. If my boss ain't coming to me and be like, hey, Mike, why didn't we do this? Like, if I can go weeks, days without him saying why, then my job is done, right? I don't need him to pat me on the back or to give me some sort of recognition or anything like that. Like, but others you do, right? There's employees that you have to tell them like, hey, man, you did a great job today, and then they're going home like feeling like they did great, right? And I think as a leader. Yeah, and I think as a leader, you do have to do that, though, right? You do have to tell your employees that, hey, man, amazing job tonight. Go home and get some rest, and let's do it again tomorrow. And starting off with positivity. And there's some guys that you can say, hey, great job. No, I could have done a little bit better.
Yeah.
Then kind of taking it a step further, like, what's going on? Why do you think, you need to do better? Like, what are you lacking? And kind of open up that communication to them, right? And I think it all boils down to communication, man, and just being there for the employees and having that open mind when they come to you about something. Like PLAP, a while back you said somebody told you, don't mention something because the supervisor would take it as their own. But bro, with me, if somebody comes up to me and tells me something about a certain thing, man, I'm always like leading with their name.
Yeah.
So and so said we need to do this, and I'm for it. You know what I mean? And then hopefully your bosses will be like, oh man, that's a fantastic idea, and right. And it's got to be something that we can really do, right. And not something that's off the wall. Like, man, we really can't relocate every damn thing in this building, but we can sure as hell do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just being there for them, like taking the little things, like writing stuff down when they ask you a question or, and then, like I said, then following back up with them on that. Staying true to your word and what you're telling your employees too. Like, don't just say it just because you just want to check that off your list. Like, okay, I covered it. It's all done, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's and nowadays, man, these kids these days are different. There's a different breed. They don't they don't want to do the work. They just want to get the check. But and I tell them like, man, I got kids that are more mature than y'all that I can tell them to come in here and this is how you're going to do this. This is a book. This is a sticker. You better make sure every single one of these cases got it on there, and none of them fall off, right? And they can do it, not because they're my kids, because that's the job. You know, that's a part of the job. Like, this is what you're getting paid for to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just things like that, and cracking down on those that are trying to take the shortcuts, because as a leader, bro, you don't want to have employees underneath you that take shortcuts and you know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then what does
especially
that
because
say?
what you just mentioned, like the responsibility is now on you,
Mhm.
which you get me, like, because you're basically controlling them or like supervising them, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's you know, that's everybody takes shortcuts, man. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Yeah.
everybody will. They'll find their way. You know, you can be trained a certain way, and then when they're on their own, what happens? They see other people. They pick up what other people are doing, and that could be wrong, right? But then you're going to get, you know, the other end of that. Like, well, that dude does it all the time. Why don't you tell him that? Well, because I saw you do it. I'm not talking about him. Like, my stuff is with you right now. Like, why do you think it's right to do it that way? You know,
Yeah.
because you want to deflect them from going like, well, that dude, right? Like, no, like, I caught you doing it, so we're going to correct your issue right now, and then if I see him doing it, then I'll deal with him, right? But you're the one I saw right here and now do it. So, but you can't be afraid to have hard conversations, man. You just can't.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you can't have those conversations, then you're going to have a hard time in leadership, like a really hard time, because you're dealing with that all day long. Like, all day long, you're dealing with it. If you don't, then you got your team locked down, man. Like, they know what they expect from you. You know, your expectations are set. You know, and that's the thing. Like, set your expectations and make sure everybody's hitting what you want to hit on. That's it. That's basically it.
Well.
Yep. Y'all got any more questions for me?
Yeah, like one of the things that you talked about was
I could be on this thing forever.
it's cool. Like one of the things that just one of the things that you touched upon. You talked about like not really being somewhat, like, I guess you could say, friends with like your workers. But do you think, like, I guess, like the correct term would be like just to be like approachable, to be an approachable
Right.
leader, approachable boss. That's an important element, you believe, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because if you're approachable, like, say you walk into a building, right, your head's down, you're shuffling your feet. To me, presentation means everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, at the Walmart DC, we didn't have polos. You know, they didn't give us polos or anything. We had to, buy our own stuff. And here, PLAP knows that, DG, they give us all kinds of polos and stuff to make yourself presentable, right? Like, we have to buy our own jeans and things like that and shoes, but that's beside the fact. But you want to go in there and present yourself as, okay, he's a leader. And then some people would think like, damn, you're just a supervisor? You know what I mean? Like, I thought you were dressed up more to be like at this level, right? But I think walking with your head high and looking around everywhere, not just looking straight or looking down, when somebody's driving by you, like, give them that. Dude, I say hi to everybody that drives by me, and I may not even know who the hell they are, but just a little, hey, what's going on, or what's up, how you doing, or, bro, that goes a long way, because then they're going to say, man, some supervisor or somebody, I don't know who he was, just drove by me and said, what's up? I don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
And they think it's cool, right? So it goes around the whole warehouse, and then you start to get to know their name, right? Because then they'll stop and be like, hey, what's your name? What shift are you on?
Yeah.
And things like that, right? So I think being approachable is key, being a leader, because you want your employees to feel that they can come up to you on anything related. You know what I mean? Like, to me, knowing, like, engaging ain't just about talking to them at work, like what their job is at work, but how many kids they have, what they like doing in their spare time. And I feel like, to me as a leader, man, I want to know that for my people, right? Because PLAP could come in, on Tuesday when I go back into work and be like, hey, PLAP, so did you do anything with your nieces this weekend?
Yeah.
Bro, that goes a million miles away with them, man. Like, if you, like, touch base and it ain't always about work, like, how'd you enjoy your 3 days off? Or, did you like your 4-day weekend? Or what'd y'all do? The weather was crappy. Did you guys still do anything? It's things like that, bro, that go a long way. And I always start my startup with giving everybody like a little fist bump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that right there was like, shit, okay, so he could just be an asshole and be like, hey, this is what we're doing tonight, get to work. But kind of like going around everybody like, it's great to see you, good afternoon, going down the line, right? And I got 30-something people in my area, and I think if you touch every single one of them people, bro, they'll go in the aisles and be like, man, how's y'all startups? To other employees. And they just talk about this and they're getting on to us about that. Oh shit, Mike says good afternoon to us, and then he goes over the plan and what we have going on, and they go away from your startup feeling a part of the team, right? And that's what I think being a leader, is, and they know that, bro, anybody will open up to you if you're approachable, man. They'll even talk to you about personal stuff, like even females will be like, Mike, I started my monthly, man. Do you think I could go home and get a pair of jeans and come back?
Yeah.
By all means, go ahead, and there's times when I'll be like, if they start crying, like, you ain't got to get too far into it, but I'm here for you if you need it. And then they'll just open up, so, and I think, like you said, Alex, being approachable, man, it's key, man. It's like the biggest thing that you possibly need as a leader, to have, is being approachable and not having that bitch face on, that bitch face on, like, you don't want to be bothered. And because a lot of people will be, oh, I don't mean to bother you. You ain't bothering me. I could stop what I'm doing and tend to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I will. Like, I'll lock my computer so I'm not distracted by what's on my monitors. I'll lock my computer and I'll turn right to them and be like, okay, what's going on? That right there, bro, if you're putting your stuff on hold to deal with your employees, man, they're going to go to everybody else and be like, man, I just talked to Mike about this, and it was so cool that he just stopped what he was doing, dropped everything, and just listened to me. So I think that's that. And like I said, people will jump over anything for you, man. Like, they'll drop whatever they're doing to do anything. I think I tell PLAP to do all kinds of stuff, man. He does everything.
Next time, make him do some backflips.
He probably would. Or something,
I'm gonna jump on a rotator and be like, okay, hold on.
There you go. But that I think is a part of, like, when you're like a good leader and you influence your people, right? Is they'll do it, and I know how PLAP is. Like, I'll tell them, hey man, after you do this, go ahead and do that. And I'm right away thinking he's probably like, no, I'm gonna stop doing this so I can go do that. But I'm like, no, finish what you're doing, because then you're gonna have, two other things. Yeah. So what happened Friday, PLAP, when I told you, PLAP, RT area, pit area needs to be cleaned, right?
Yeah.
And when you were doing something else for me, right?
Yeah.
So what did I do?
You cleaned that area.
Right. I took it upon myself because I knew PLAP was back in the back, because I needed him to get everybody else out. So I took it upon myself. Like, I could have just sat there, and been like, paging PLAP out, like, bro, one of these RTs is going to get picked up. Like, what are you doing back there? Are you bullshitting around or what?
Yeah.
No, so I'm like, no, I'll just clean it up. I'll sweep, I'll pick up trash, I'll do whatever. It's, to me, I always had the mindset of an hourly still, even though I'm not. Right, I still have that mindset, like, as an hourly, I don't want to come over here and see the road area all jacked up, because then I'm like, crap, now I got to look through all these and figure out which one I can use, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I got all this trash over here. I'm going to slip and fall and do all this other stuff. So it's like, I'm always thinking like hourly, like what can I do as an hourly? So if I was an hourly employee, like, what could I possibly do to make my job easier? Like, what would I want to take to my boss?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'll challenge my people too. Like, y'all don't think this needs to be moved up to the front? Like, why y'all picking this big ass case in the back? Yeah. Y'all are trying to stick it on your, on your pallets. Like, and then it click to you guys to move it to the front. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and move it to the front for you guys. It's things like that. Like, challenge your employees too, like, to be vocal, because we don't want people just to go in there and do their job and leave. We want them to know that what they're doing outside of picking cases, their input is valuable to the warehouse, right?
Yeah.
And to getting us to where we need to be. And I think if they know that, leaders got to tell them, give me your input. Then I think that goes a long way too. Or if they're just in, like, and they're thinking themselves as a number, right? Like, I'm just a 30th picker, or 31. Like, my value, they don't value me at all. I'm just a number to them. I'm just pushing cases, which is not about pushing cases. It's about everybody in there is the reason why we're like top 5 all the time in the network.
Yeah.
And then the leaders got to push them even more. Like, I'm competitive as can be. I don't ever want to be second to anybody. Even like, you have as a leader, you're going to hear hey, why did first shift leave it this way? Or why do we always come in and third shift does this? And we don't do that. Exactly. Yeah. Why don't we do that? Because we're second shift. And who's on second shift? What kind of leaders do you have on second shift? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we come into that, but then as a leader, you can't come in thinking like, man, fuck, because then our employees are going to come in and see you already pissed off, and then ain't nothing going to get done.
Yeah.
So you got to stay positive with everything, bro. Like, everything you have to stay positive. Like, we're going to get through it. Yeah. We're not going to leave. We're not going to leave shorts. It's going to be hell the first few hours. Yeah. But we've overcome stuff before in that warehouse, man. That it's second to none, man. It's like it's nothing. Mm. All it is a little speed bump in the way. Yeah, we're going to get ourselves over it. That's all it is, dude. That's all it is. And that's how I see every single day. Like, not every day is perfect. Not every day is going to be perfect. And when it is perfect, there's always something in there that you could probably even make it even better. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could run the greatest numbers in the world, man, but what can we do to possibly even get a little bit better? Mm. Don't ever be, like, satisfied with it. Like, always strive for more.
Yeah.
And that's how I see my everyday thing, man. Waking up, just wanting to lay there, but I wake up
I feel you.
I wake up at 2 o'clock to push myself to work out every day before I go to work, right? And then you feel accomplished, right? Like, I didn't want to do it. I did it. Now let's go to work and kill it. You know what I'm saying? And then going to work and walking around with the pride that you have, walking into that building and knowing damn well that, okay, we're leading ourselves into the right building. And I know I'm leading my people. I know I'm leading my people where they want to go. And I know I'm not going to get much help from the other two, but I'll be damned if our ship's going to fall down because 2 people don't want to do their job. Mm. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, I put a lot of pressure on myself. Again, going back to not my bosses to get into trouble or anything like that, wanting San Antonio get, number one like we've been. We hit a snag, but hey, again, it's just a little bump in the road. Like, now how are we as leaders going to push our employees to get us back to where we need to be? That's basically it, man. That's it. Just being there for your employees, always having time for them, listening to them, taking every input that they have for anything, and then kind of make you think. If your employees can make you think, you're no better than they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're no better than they are. I got some people that make me think, and I'm just like, shit, okay. Let me think about it a little bit more. You know what I mean? And then it's like, all right, that makes sense. Don't ever want to shoot somebody's idea down because it's not your own. That's where I think a lot of leaders lose a lot of trust from employees, is because, damn, that's a damn good idea, but fuck, I didn't think about that, so I'm not going to use it. You know what I'm saying? It happens. Yeah. So it does, man, and it happens, more often than you think, and that's the sad part.
Yeah.
Because any company, whether it's DG, Walmart, HEB, like, none of their leaders are going to be like, oh, I'm number one because of, we're number one because of me. Ain't no way in the world, bro. Like, who's doing the work? Yeah. Your employees. That's why the building is the way they are. You're instilling, like, everything. Making sure they're following all the processes and stuff like that. Being approachable, not being scared to have those conversations, those hard conversations with them and things like that. So, it's and PLAP knows, like, I got a twin brother that runs his own building too. So, me and him been in leadership about the same time. And him running a building, obviously he's got more, on his plate, right? Because he's got to talk about other things and stuff like that. So, but more power to him. I mean, it ain't just DG, it's everywhere, man. It's the same thing. You're going to deal with different employees. You're going to deal with all these employees that want to just ruffle your feathers and see how much they can push.
Yeah.
But don't let them push you. Like, you have to stand your ground and be like, okay, thank you for coming to me with your concerns and stuff like that. But this is why we're doing this, or this is why this can't happen. And, you ain't got to get onto them. I think I hold conversations the same way I do with every single person. Like how I'm talking to you guys right now is how I explain to everybody on anything. If they do something wrong, if they do something right, I'm just the same, right? I mean, there's times when I do raise my voice, but then again, you have to think, like, what is that really going to do? do you want to be that leader that yells all the time? Because we do have those.
Yeah,
You know,
they are.
or do you want to be that? Or do you want to be that leader that can get his point across without raising his voice?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's just things like that. That, like I said, man, every single day, I'm looking for something new I can bring to the table, and to help anybody out, really. And to me, holding other supervisors accountable too. Like, bro, you can't talk to that guy like that. What are you doing? But then a lot of the soups are, a lot of soups you see are like, oh, so and so took me to HR today, and they make it seem like that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no leader wants anybody to take them to HR about anything. So,
Yeah.
you don't ever want that to happen to you. Of course, you're going to have some that you just can't help, that they're just going to be that type of person regardless, right? But you could always just, you can't hold that against them. Like, man, this guy always goes to HR. No matter how much we help him, he's still going to go.
Yeah.
Who cares? Let him go. That's what open doors are for, open door policy. So you let him do it as long as you ain't doing nothing wrong to him, then you ain't got nothing to worry about.
Of course.
But if you're sweating on it, then what did you do to make him go there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That part. So, but yeah, man, leadership is fun. Leadership is stressful. It can get frustrating at times, but
Yeah.
For me, man, what I get out of it is knowing, my people are doing the job right, and they feel that they could come to me for anything and everything they need, right? And just being there for them, man, is basically it. Engaging with them every single day, walking the house and ask them how they're doing. Because you don't ever want to sit there and see them at startup and then you don't say nothing to them until they leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then they really will feel like, shit, I'm just a number.
Yeah.
But if you walk by and ask them like, hey, how you doing? Everything good? They'll be like, oh yeah, everything's great. I'm fine. Or, great job stacking your pallet.
Yeah.
Great job with this. Hey, I need a little help with this. Make sure you're engaging, bro. It's engagement. Consistency and holding everybody accountable, man. That's probably the three things that I feel is like important. As a leader, and every day being successful and learning how to get better the next day. Because you don't ever want to fall back. You always want to, as the week goes on, man, you always want to strive for more, right? You always want to get better. So that's my thought process every single day. Every single day. When I'm going to work, who am I going to help today? Or who am I going to push to new levels, right?
Yeah.
What if somebody comes up to me with this? And like, I'm telling you, man, like I'm always thinking about what if, because you have to be ready.
Yeah, you have to be prepared.
You have to be ready. Exactly, bro. You have to be prepared.
And I learned that, bro. Like, before I say this, I did wanted to say that I never thought that I was just a number, but there's times when like you are very approachable, and I will say that, I can come to you about anything, you make the workplace, you crack jokes sometimes, and you're you're funny too, you're funny, but you know when, and you know when to be funny, but when to be,
serious, yeah,
when to be sharp and everything. With that being said, like I learned that with the whole you have to think ahead, because like when I'm running the desk, I'm like, okay, I wonder how much we're gonna have. Okay, who am I gonna use for if we have, this person calls in, who's gonna run water so this person calls in,
right?
Or who you so you just have to be thinking, and if I'm thinking like that even just being at the level that I'm at, I could imagine that you basically run the whole warehouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
you're right. Like, you touched on it, bro. Like, you have to think about, you're going to have call-ins regardless, right? And you just got to make sure that you're making those moves right away. And that's what I'm saying. Like, communication is really, really key. Like, and I feel like if everybody's on the same page, they can't sit there and say they didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I see a lot of people saying like, man, I didn't know that guy went over there. Or I didn't know you told that guy. Nah, for real, bro. Check your text messages, man, and you can see the timestamp that when we sent them, right? So it's just things like that, and all that leader's going to do is just don't put himself in hot water, right? Because he's not engaged and he doesn't know the business. But you're right, PLAP. It's knowing who you're going to pull to do what, and that I think is a good step. Right there is to know, and that's know your people, right? That's when you know the other functions that they know how to do.
Yeah.
And not just like, hey man, do you know how to do this, right? But you already know a certain person that knows how to do what, so you're gonna pull that person, right? So it's just knowing your people, man. Like if you don't know your people, then you're behind right away.
Yeah.
You're behind right away, and it just seems like that, man. Always, 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 just thinking ahead on what could possibly happen, and you don't want to think the worst, but there's times when you have to, just to prepare yourself to when it does happen, and you're not just like a deer in the headlights, like, oh shit,
yeah, because
like what do we do?
Because remember, I think it was Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving. We didn't have a lot of people, right? And he's making a lot of moves, and I was noticing, I was observing, and I was studying, and I was like, okay, wow, like we were doing, go here, hey, go here, go here, go here, go here. I don't know how many. The parking lot was empty, but we still made it happen, right?
See, and that's what a lot of our employees see too, right? When they come in and they see the parking lot is completely empty, and right away they're like, Jesus, this is gonna be a long damn night. You know what I mean? So you as a leader, you gotta kind of, you kind of have to extinguish that right away, right? Like we'll be fine. Like, yo, we've done this before. If we don't have enough people, we're just gonna do what we can do.
Yeah,
we're literally not gonna let y'all or make y'all try to push out, the volume for 65 people and we only got 40. Like, come on. Like, we're not that dumb. Like, I know we push y'all, but we're not that dumb. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But, then you got to make sure that when they come in that they're still going to give it their all, right? Because they're already defeated. They're already defeated. They already think that, damn, man, we're going to be here longer because so-and-so's not here, and I don't need to see this guy's car, and what are we going to do? And, so you just kind of have to reel it in like really quick before it gets, like I said, way out there in the deep ocean, man, and you can't even reel that thing back in because you've already lost your whole workforce, and now you're just like, shit, I'm gonna have to pick. You know what I mean? When you don't want to pick, then you're gonna have to pick. But it's just things like that, man. Like it's just always, mind always has to be moving, man. If your mind's moving, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah,
that's
just
it. Leadership is fun, bro.
Yeah, just one more thing, bro.
Yeah, what's up?
I know that you talked about like you also train other supervisors. I believe you said at the beginning of the podcast. Yeah. Do you also feel like a like a proud father or like a proud like basically leader, right? Like as you're like training some of these things, because some of these people, right? Because like as a coach myself, it's like really cool to see like not only like athletes do like the things that the way that you taught them, but also add like their own little flavor to it. It's really cool to look at like people grow like with some of like the core values that you kind of like implemented into them, but also kind of like take like their own pathway on like how they want to like lead a group or a crew.
Yeah, then you really see how you are as a leader, right? When you train somebody a certain way, like I train everybody the same way, the same exact way. So if they take it and they run with it and they succeed with it, great. That makes you feel good. But then you do have those leaders that were like, oh man, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to run it my own way. I'm a supervisor, so I'm going to do it my own way. But then again, I'm just like, hey, well then that's on them, right? Because every single person been trained the same way. I've trained the same exact way, and it's like if you don't want to get it, then that's on you. But 2 out of the 3 soups are doing it, and they're doing just fine. But you're the one that's lacking because why? You didn't get no different training than them. You got the same exact one, right? So like you said, like those that take it, and like I said, earlier on in the podcast, like sticking your tail between your legs and just like, okay, yes, I know you're a suit, but look, you're getting trained. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got the title, but you don't know the process. And this is exactly what needs to happen. And then they take notes. If they take notes, man, you already know they're engaged.
Yeah.
But if me being a trainer has to tell you as a trainee to take notes, then I know they're not going to take it where they want it to go.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about the checklist. Are too good for a checklist, because they think they got everything done. Like they can do everything and they can remind everything. You can't. I don't care how smart you are. In leadership, with your mind going a million, miles an hour, bro, you got so much in your head that I need to see visually. Yeah. Okay, shit, I did that, so I'm checking that thing off and putting the time by it. Like I did it at this time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it is a proud moment when you see them taking it, yeah. What you taught them, and, you know, and they're going with it. And then the other guy, you're just like, yeah, he didn't want to learn from the get-go, so he's on his own. You know what I mean? But yeah. I don't want to be that guy, but you know what I mean? But you spend time with them to show them and to teach them, then it's kind of like a slap in the face. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, man, I could have been out and taught this person even more.
Yeah.
Or I could have been learning something on myself, but I took the time to train this guy, and he don't want to do nothing. All he wants to do is just hold people accountable, and that's it. That's what he thinks a supervisor is, and it's not.
And it sucks because they want to keep people accountable, but they don't want to be held accountable. You know,
that's it, Platt. I mean, that's a good point, because it goes that way, man, and it goes for senior leaderships too. Like, if they're afraid to hold their supervisors accountable, then they shouldn't even be in the spot that they're in.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to be the next line of development for us.
Correct.
You know, and if I don't feel like you are not going to develop me to get to that level, you know, then I'm going to the ADs. You know, then I'm going to be like, look, how am I supposed to get to his level if he don't even want to show me anything, or he's not there to, you know what I mean? Like, because you want to hold conversations with your employees, you know, even if they're outside of their 12 weeks, right, Platt, and they're struggling and stuff, you still want to touch base with them, right? You still want to understand and want them to know, like, hey, I'm still here for you. Like, you're at 85%. You need to be at 90 by the end of the week. Like, what's going on? Same way with you know, with the managers. Like, I'm like, damn, I guess I'm doing everything right. You ain't said nothing to me.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, pull us aside one-on-ones and have the one-on-ones with us and be like, this is what you guys are missing.
Yeah.
But I think even at, you know, senior management, man, I think they're scared to have those conversations because they don't want the backlash from their supervisors, right?
Yeah.
You know, because they're afraid that the soups are going to come down on them. And I will. Like, if you tell me, hey, I think we need to do this, my question to you is why and how? If you can't give me the why and the how, then I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, because I want to be the one to be able to tell my employees, like, this is why we're doing it. This is how we're going to do it. But if my manager can't give me that, how am I going to give that to the employees if I don't have the clear understanding of it? Contradicting, right? Like, do because they say.
Yeah.
No, that's not how I work, man. I want to be able to preach what I'm telling them and know that what I'm telling them, I'm gonna stand by it. Well, I can for them to understand it. So.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna wrap up the podcast, bro. I just once again want to thank you for your time. I know that you're busy with the March Madness.
Yeah. Keep looking up, man.
Yeah. So I just want to thank you and appreciate you for just kind of like sharing your thoughts on leadership, and it was a pleasure to get to know you, bro, and see kind of like, you know, pick your brain out a little bit. And well, do you want to say anything, PLAP?
I just wanted to say again, thank you, man. Like for letting me not pick cases, but pick your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah, for sure. Right. I'm gonna make that happen.
And I appreciate that. And what do we always do when we end a podcast, Alex?
I wanted you to do it, bro. I wanted you to close it out.
What is one message that, Mike? What is one message that you would love to let the listeners know, or something they could apply to themselves?
A piece of advice.
Always stay humble. Always stay humble, man. Never forget where you came from. Like I tell y'all, man, I still remember the first day I picked at Walmart, you know, and from that point on, like, I was like, okay, I like this. It's, you know, I'm getting paid to work out pretty much, right? Yeah. 5 years down the line, I was like, okay, I can see myself, you know, doing this as a career. Let me go ahead and take a step in leadership. You know, and, you know, staying humble, you know, not forgetting where you came from, and always have room to learn. Like, you're never too good, man. There's never an ending to learning. So, you know, just keeping those in your mind, like, you know, people can go places. They really can. So I really do appreciate you too, man. Like, keep it up, stay consistent with it. You know, if y'all want me on again, I for sure will.
Yeah, we'll have you on again for sure.
For sure.
Hey, for sure. Yeah, let me know when.
Thank you.
All right, man. Sounds good. Thank you, man.
All right, guys. I appreciate
You're
y'all.
amazing,
Thank
bro.
you.
Thanks.